How's it going, everyone? Elier Gonzalez, again, exploring the layout animation, which is part of the model of now enhance the user experience. And so far we have looked at how can we do that, for example, by using is the toggle, right? How can we use a particularly component from React Native to provide that functionality? And also some common tips, especially to work with layout. So anytime you want to fill the available space in a component, you can think of this as a box. You indicate to this box to behave like a flex of 1 to take all the available space. Now, then we explore about how can we now ordering and sorting elements there by using the sort function, and how now the sort function can be used for numbers when you need to sort them in ascending or descending order, right? So for example, if you pass now a comparing functions to the sort methods, it takes now 2 inputs, the first elements and the second elements. So if you want to sort items if you want to sort items in a descending order by number, you now is return is -1. If you want to sort them in an ascending order, you return a positive number. Let me actually recap this quickly as a way to actually make sure that I don't say anything that might be compromised here, and it's like that. So if the value is positive, exactly, if you want to order stuff now in a descending order, you now is return is a positive value. If you want things to be sorted in a descending order, you now return is negative values. But the idea here is that whatever item you want to use to compare that, the TLDR of this is that if you want to sort elements in an ascending order, all right, you put now the first element -b, right? If you want now in a descending order, you put now the second item -b, minus the first elements. So then we look at how can we now persist the state of our application here by using is now this async store. Initially was built on React Native as part of the core API, but then now the React teams now move out this to be part of the community library, so they can now build, develop, and manage. So it can be built, developed, and managed independently of the React core team. We also look at how can we create our files, for example, the storage for that, and define some of the 2 most common methods. This async storage, as the name suggests, is an async persisting unencrypted key value store. So this is pretty much like local storage. And we use now async storage library for that. We define the file from our storage and some convenient methods, pretty much like a crew or an SDK for that, right? For example, like save and get the elements. The way how do you save that element is into a string with the entire JSON. You stringify the entire JSON for that. And when you want to consume that, you then parse that string into a JSON, right? And this JSON parser actually there's some couple stuff that doesn't parse that. So for example, functions, right? Or logic, circular reference. So in any case, here we are now on the layout animation.
Talk about is animation. There's actually a huge amount you can do with animation in React Native. Unfortunately, a lot of it is quite involved. There's quite a lot of code involved. I originally thought about doing like a swipe to delete example here or something like that, but there's quite a lot of code to make that happen. But thankfully, there is a beautifully easy way to do limited but full page and beautiful animations in React Native, and it's called layout animation.
Okay, okay.
What I'm going to talk
So
about
this is
is
now
animation.
the layout animation here. Layout animation here. So she first thought to do
There's
that.
actually a huge amount you can do with animation in React Native. Unfortunately, a lot of it is quite involved. There's quite a lot of code involved. I originally thought about doing like a swipe to delete example here or something like that, but there's quite a lot of code to make that happen. But thankfully, there is a beautifully easy way to do limited but full page and beautiful animations in React Native.
Okay, but this is full page animations. For
But
full page
thankfully,
animations.
there is a beautifully easy way to do limited but full page and beautiful animations in React Native, and it's called layout animation. Layout animation is part of React Native, so you can import it from React Native. And what it does is it animates the UI from its previous state to its current state. So you don't get any control over how it animates, it kind of just does some platform-specific prettiness. And the way you call layout animation immediately before you do a state change that will trigger the UI to update. So in our case, we'll need to call it just before we set our shopping list. So in the use effect, we'll do layout animation configure next. And there's a bunch of presets that are already given to you, and to be honest, I almost always end up using this one. So layout animation, presets, and ease in, ease out. And we can copy this and use it everywhere where we call set shopping list. Lovely. So now, when we mark things as completed, they actually automatically animate up and down.
But again, this is now for
A lot of code to make that happen. But thankfully, there is a beautifully easy way to do limited but full page.
Exactly, to do limited. But there's one extremely simple way to do limited but incredibly satisfying full page animation. Exactly, for limited but full page animation, for limited but full page animations. Okay, there is a library, or there is not a library,
page and beautiful animations in React Native, and it's called layout animation. They only thought about doing like a swipe to delete. There's actually a huge amount you can do with animation in React Native. Unfortunately, a lot of it is quite involved. There's quite a lot of code involved. I originally thought about doing like a swipe to delete example here or something like that, but there's quite a lot of code to make that happen. But thankfully, there is a beautifully easy way to do limited but full page and beautiful animations in React Native, and it's called layout animation. Layout animation is part of React Native, so you can import it from React Native. And what it does is it animates the UI from its previous state to its current state. So you don't get any.
Okay. So what it does is to animate the layout.
And what it does is it animates the UI from its previous state to its current state.
So what it does is to animate the layout. Which layout there?
React Native. And what it does is it animates the UI from its previous state.
It animates the UI from the previous stage. So from the previous state to the current one.
To its current state. So you don't get any control over how it animates.
Okay, you don't get any control of how it animates. So you don't get any control of how it animates. Okay.
It kind of just does some platform specific prettiness.
Okay. It is a platform specific prettiness.
And the way you call layout animation immediately before you do a state change that will trigger the UI to update. So in our case, we'll need to call it just before we set our shopping list. So in the use effect, we'll do layout animation, configure next, and there's a bunch of presets that are already given to you, and to be honest, I almost always end up using this one. So layout animation, presets, and ease in, ease out. And we can copy this and use it everywhere where we call set shopping list. Lovely. So now, when we mark things as completed, they actually automatically animate up and down, which is pretty neat. For more advanced animations, you can use Animated, that's part of React Native, but most of the time, you would actually use Reanimated.
But this is from one state to another, exactly. So you don't get any control of how you animate, and it is platform-specific prettiness. So the way it works is by having a layout. Interesting. So the way it works, right? Okay. So the way it works is by having a interesting. So the way it works is by defining is by calling that function right before a state update.
React Native Reanimated, which is a hooks-based animation library.
Okay.
So which is pretty neat. For more advanced animations, you can use Animated, that's part of React Native.
Okay. But this is for simple, man. Advanced animations, you can use is that what they recommend, which is animated.
Most of the time, you would actually use Reanimated. React Native Reanimated, which is a hooks-based animation library. So if you're looking to create custom, the two libraries that you're after is React Native Animation.
Okay. Reanimate, which is a hook-based animation.
And hooks-based animation library. So if you're looking to create custom animations with React Native, the two libraries that you're after is React Native Animated and React Native Gesture Handler.
Okay, and React Gesture Handler. And React Gesture Handler.
Which are animation library. So if you're looking to create custom animations with React Native, the two libraries that you're after is React.
Okay. So custom animations Okay. If you need to implement custom animations, the libraries that you are looking for are Reanimate, and this one, gesture handler. Gesture handler. That's interesting. Okay. All right.
Native Animated and React Native Gesture Handler, which are both built by Software Mention. They're really good libraries, they work really well together, so if you do want to build your own swipe to delete, those are the libraries that we use.
Gesture detector. Okay. Gesture detection, gesture, pan gesture. Okay. Tap gesture. Pinch gesture. Fling gesture. Hover gesture. For touch gestures. iOS only. Native gestures. Okay, but this is if you want to go with the component. The drawer layout, pressable, Reanimate drawer layer. But again, if you want to implement your own custom Reanimate drawer layout, Reanimate swappable. Okay. Reanimate sweepable. Swipeable. Swipables, which is component that they provide to you, and touchables. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Punches. But again, this is for creating his custom layout for that.
Someone in the chat is asking, so configure next only impacts the directly next line that is a state update?
Not directly the next line, it will be the next UI update. So UI updates actually get batched, so if like with this use state, if you did a bunch of these use states, you did like 4 of them in one hook, then they actually get batched, so it will be the next time the component re-renders in the UI updates.
Exactly, because it's batching to stay up until with the next time the component gets rendered, it's gonna do that. It's gonna now show the layout. Again, very specific to that. So, in other words, is this one. So you can safely say, hey, let's go on the shopping list to now add this on any state updates. Right after that, we're gonna do that. In other words, this is on the index here when we fetch the data, that kind of stuff. When we, for example, now on any set shopping list, or anytime we update our state, we're going to do that, which is set shopping list like this. how do you put it here? This is like called layout animation, right? Dot configure next. On the next render, you want to pass is now the layout next animation presets easing out. So on the next element, right? So on the next state update, after it batch all of these state updates, then it's going to apply now the layout animation. So we're doing that is here. We're also doing that is here as well. In our handle or toggle here. So by the time we run this, all right, and we put it here, let me actually reload this, right? Now the animation works, and if I add something here, for example, handle submit, I say sparkling water, it actually add that properly. Again, this is for giving now nice little animations into your UI elements. That makes a lot of sense. But again, this is for when the UI state updates. If you want to provide now animations, use hooks base, you do a different kind of stuff.
So that's when it gets triggered. Now let's talk about haptics and haptic feedback. Haptic feedback is something that you don't have on the web, and it is the little vibration that your phone makes.
This is layout animation. Layout animation. User experience enhancement. And then here you say this. In this layer, let me actually add now a nice little animation here. Exactly, a nice little animation here. All right. Right, and then you say sugar. We write it wrong. Okay, and this is for animations. Exactly. So for custom animation, you may want to go with it. Exactly. For custom animations, you might want to go with this. And now we're going to look at this device interactions. Okay. Device user interactions. That's quite interesting. And now we say git switch C to say device interactions. Okay, let's get into this.
In response to certain touches. So it can be in response to like pressing a button or just typing on your keyboard, etc. And it's really handy to use haptics occasionally, but sparingly, to kind of enhance your app and make it a little bit more interesting to use. Let's install the library for haptics. So we'll install npx expo install expo haptics. And if we look at the documentation for this library, it's a pretty small library, and it basically has functions for impact async, notification async, and selection async.
But this is from Expo.
Install the library for haptics. So we'll install npx expo install expo haptics. And if we look at the documentation for this library, it's a pretty small library, and it basically has functions for impact async, notification async, and selection async, which are basically presets for the different kind of vibration patterns you might want to do. So I'm going to open this on my phone to make sure that it's working. Can't feel vibrations on a simulator. Lovely. So I'll do some milk, some coffee, and tea.
Right, once you add that.
Lovely. Oh, it's so satisfying to see these animations on a real phone. Alright, so let's add some haptic feedback in response to taps. So we want to do a medium impact when the user deletes an item, success notification, so like the strongest animation as the strongest haptic feedback when the user completes an item, and then the medium impact if they mark a previously completed item as to do. So in our code, let's go to the index file and let's look at when we're deleting the item. So let's do just after the set shopping list. I think we'll need to import haptics. So the import for this is import star as haptics from expo haptics. Right, and then in our handle delete, just before set shopping list, we'll do haptics impact async, and we'll do haptics impact feedback style medium. So this will be a medium impact. Let's make sure that this works. So if I delete this, I'm getting a little haptic feedback. Lovely. And now we want to do a success notification, so the strongest feedback when the user completes an item, and then a medium impact when they mark a previously completed item undone. So this will be in our toggle function. So handle toggle complete. So it will be in here, in our if the item is the item that we are currently toggling. Let's add another if statement here. So if item completed as timestamp, so if it was previously completed, let's do haptics impact async and haptics impact feedback style medium, and else let's use a success notification. So haptics notification async, haptics, notification, feedback type, and success.
Which is a strong reply. Can you
Lovely.
put it?
So now when we go back, if we mark this as complete, yeah, it's so you should when you now toggle these between completed and not, you will notice that the success notification is quite a bit stronger. So on the iPhone, it's like a double vibration, whereas the medium impact is quite a bit lighter. So let me just try this on Android as well. So this is actually one of those things that it is much more fun if you're developing on a real device, unlike on a simulator like I am, because you can actually feel it. So let me plug in my Android phone. Okay. And export go. Scan the QR code. Okay.
Okay,
so
this is not
again, your phone, so I don't have
okay.
anything set up yet. So let's do coffee. Let's do some milk, tea, sugar. Alright, so now, yeah, interestingly, Android haptic feedback by default, it feels much more stronger than iOS. I don't know if it's just this phone, but it's quite interesting. But yeah, so same for Android. So the success notification is quite a bit stronger than the medium impact. A really integral part of most mobile applications is push notifications. So a push notification, I mean, we all receive them, probably too many, but it's the notification that you get in your notification bar from your application. It's triggered by the application when it's not in the foreground, usually. And there's two types of push notifications. There's remote notifications. So these are sent from a server. So a server somewhere knows your device's push notification, and it sends the push notification to like Apple or to Firebase, and it gets directed to your device. Or local notifications, which are scheduled within your app and sent to the current device only. Setting up remote push notifications is quite involved. I've linked to some documentations on how to do it, but basically there's that you need to set up a server, you need to register and save the push token, so it is not easily workshopable. But we are going to send some local push notifications to ourselves. To do this, let's install Expo Notifications and Expo Device. Now, a concept that we haven't covered before.
So that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.